Everybody, it's Jason Krill and you're watching Lawn Care Life. You know, lately I've been looking at my lawn and I'm really asking myself, did I kill my entire lawn? And the answer to that is, I believe no. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm going to show you the lawn and I'm going to show you a very interesting article from North Carolina State that talks about applying glyphosate, which is the ingredient in Roundup, to your Bermuda grass lawn and the effect it can have. So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to show you my lawn and then I'm going to show you some very interesting findings in the article. Stay tuned. Okay, so here's my lawn. Sorry, pardon the traffic here. It's a little busy this morning, but you can see there is virtually very little life in the lawn. Now look over there on that bank and you'll see a good bit of green. The reason you're going to see a good bit of green on that bank is because that's where I didn't spray. I was using a ride-on machine and I didn't get up on that bank because it's a little bit steep. But you can see a significant difference. Even as you look over here, you know, you can see pretty much where I missed a spot in this corner. And this is basically what the entire lawn would have looked like had I not sprayed it with the glyphosate. So you've got all this ryegrass and fescue and just all kind of weeds popping up in the lawn, and that's you compare that with this, which is virtually a clean slate, I guess, but a lot of it is dead, a lot of it is struggling. There were tons of onions in here that I used a product called Blindside on those, but just filled with Dallas grass and all kind of weeds, and I sprayed it with the idea being that I want to kill everything except that little bit of dormant Bermuda that's left in the lawn. This is something I've done before, so I kind of knew what was going to happen, and I applied it at 32 ounces per acre, which is a little bit of a strong rate. Now, I'm a part of a Facebook group with some professional lawn care applicators. It's a very good group, and there's a lot of good information being shared in that group. And I saw the other day where somebody had posted this graphic, and I looked it up today, and it's a article from North Carolina State where they show what the effects are of glyphosate on partially dormant Bermuda. Now, mostly dormant. In the actual study, the applicator was estimating that the Bermuda grass was 15% green. Okay, so 85% dormant, 15% green, and this was in the spring of the year, actually in March the 29th. Now, your grass may look different depending on where you live on March the 29th. Here in Alabama, if we have a warm March, our grass may be 50% green by then, but he's estimating in North Carolina, where the study was done, that the Bermuda grass was only 15% green at that point. Now, the reason I was interested in this article is because this is something I have asked a lot of questions about. When is the best time to apply glyphosate? What rate do you apply it? Should you apply it in the fall? Should you wait till it's totally dormant in the dead of winter like January? And in this situation, he actually waited till it was coming out of dormancy in March. So for me, I applied in December when it was sort of at the very tail end of transition moving into dormancy. There might have been a little bit of green left. I would say less than 15%, but transition into dormancy, where he's applying it as it's transition out of dormancy. But he actually applied at different rates. I said 16 ounces. He shows the results of applying at different rates. And it's very interesting, his conclusion in the article. He concludes that even spraying 16 ounces of glyphosate on a green Bermuda lawn in the middle of the summer will actually not kill the Bermuda. Now, I'm not going to try that. I really don't want to try that. But it will obviously make it sick. Applying that 16 ounces in the wintertime, even if there's still a little bit of green left, and let me show you what his conclusion was, and he nicely organized it in a chart. Okay, so go click on the article if you want to see the chart for yourself, but he breaks it down into several time frames and several application rates. So according to his chart, he's got 9 days after the application, 24 days after the application, 49 days after the application, and 57 days after the application. That's when he checked the grass to see how it had progressed after applying the glyphosate. And now, again, he applied at different rates. Now, in his chart, he shows different rates of application and how it affected the green up at these different time intervals. So he shows 8 ounces per acre, 12 ounces per acre, 16 ounces per acre, 24 ounces per acre, and 32 ounces per acre. And then he shows some that was not treated at all and how it affected the green up. So after 9 days, what originally was at 15% green, after 9 days later, the untreated grass was now 50% green. So it must have been a fairly warm week. He mentioned 70-degree weather. That had 8 ounces of glyphosate applied to it, he estimated that it was now 31% green. So, you know, a significant noticeable difference between the green up of what had 8 ounces versus what had no application whatsoever. The 12-ounce application showed it to be 20% green. The 16-ounce application was 18% green. 24-ounce application was 15% green. And the 32-ounce application was 13% green. So you see the 24-ounce application basically stayed the same, still 15% green. The 32-ounce application was actually less green than it was before. So it definitely stunted the growth. Now let's move forward on the time frame. That's 9 days after treatment. Let's look at 24 days after the application. At 24 days later, you're at the difference between the 8-ounce application and the untreated. It was 79% and 80%, so virtually identical after 24 days. I don't know how he was able to tell the difference in 80% and 79%, but virtually identical 24 days later of what had been treated with 8 ounces. Now my question is, did the 8 ounces actually kill anything in the yard? You know, any weeds? I don't want to just spray the, you know, this is not something I'm gonna do on every yard. This is something I'm gonna do like I did on my yard when it's in a really bad yard. It's got tons of weeds that are hard to control, and you're basically looking to just start over and get that Bermuda to start filling in. And you think, well, which, you know, not that it's healthy to spray your grass with glyphosate, it's not, but you're trying to get rid of the weeds so that the Bermuda, even if it delays the green up, can then really fill in the next summer. So me applying mine at 32 ounces per acre, I'm expecting some delayed green up. Do I expect it to die? No, I don't expect it to die, and I think this research shows that. But 24 days later, and I'm not gonna go over all these numbers, significant drop-off is between, you know, he's got 53% green when you applied 24 ounces, but at 32 ounces, he says it's only 30% green. So it is starting to recover. 24 days later, it went from 15% green, now it's up to 30% green. But again, comparing that with 80% green when it wasn't treated at all. So some serious delayed green up. And then you move forward to 49 days later. After 49 days, everything's really catching up. He's showing 97% green, what's treated with 8 ounces, and 96% green, what was untreated. And the lowest score on here is 83% green. So, you know, after 49 days, everything is starting to green up. Still delayed green up, but still, you know, it's, you no doubt about it whether the Bermuda is going to survive or not. And then 57 days later, the lowest score was 89% green on the chart. So again, if this is interesting, I would encourage you to look at the chart yourself. But this makes sense of what I'm seeing in my own lawn. Now we're still cooler weather. We actually are getting up into the 70s this week, so I wouldn't be surprised at all to start seeing some green in my customers' lawns, but probably not my lawn, because again, with the 32-ounce glyphosate application per acre, I have most likely stunted the growth of the Bermuda, and by doing that, controlled a whole lot of weeds and giving that Bermuda so a lot more room to grow this year, because it's not going to be competing with all the big ugly weeds that it would have been if I wouldn't have done that. So I have no regrets over what I've done, and I'll be curious to see, comparing my lawn with some other Bermuda lawns in the area. I would like to see, you know, around mid-April when I'm seeing my customers' lawns, and they're probably at that point maybe 50% green, maybe a little more depending on the weather. And my lawn, you know, may have very little green left in it. I'm not sure. But as soon as I start to see some green is when I'm going to hopefully be able to apply some fertilizer and get the recovery going faster and try to grow as much Bermuda grass as possible. But anyway, I thought it was an interesting article. I appreciate the Facebook group there sharing it, and the researcher here from NC State putting together a really helpful article, in my opinion, with some actual data and real numbers. I'm Jason Creel. If you hadn't done so, subscribe to the channel. I'll continue to provide helpful videos. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.